this is super transformational. This is incredible. Like what I lived in ecstatic dance is kind of something that I didn't think was possible, you know, in today's society or whatever. So when I understood that it was possible, when I felt it in my body, then there was this calling to, yes, I want to also like manifest my version of it, my vision of it.
When I went to Bali, that was when I first experienced my ecstatic dance. And that was when I felt truly like, oh my God, I could be myself. It's okay to be myself. And everybody's there to accept me for who I am. I don't have to pretend to be someone else. I don't have to put a mask on. I'm just enough.
Welcome back to Conscious CoCreators Live. My name is Shani, joined here today with Uma, co-creator.
Hello, welcome to the Conscious CoCreators. Today we are happy to have two special guests, Emmy from Ecstatic Dance Tokyo and Henrique from Ecstatic Dance Ericeira. Welcome, guys. It's really nice to have you here today.
Thank you for having us.
It's a pleasure. Thank you for the invitation.
Appreciate you guys joining, and we really connected over this weekend at your incredible event, Ecstatic Dance Ericeira. We really appreciated the connections that we shared there. And Emmy, you mentioned about your running as well, Ecstatic Dance in Tokyo.
Yes.
So our intention for today is kind of diving into this community creation that's behind this ecstatic dance scene that we're seeing pop up over the world. So I'm curious to know from you guys, like, what was it? Was there some specific moment in your life that kind of drove you to want to create these scenes in your local areas?
So in my case, it was. So maybe I can start.
Yeah, go ahead.
Because for me, the answer is easy, yeah. So basically, it was the moment when I found out that I was going to be a father. That's really the shift, like the pivoting moment. If I had to point to one trigger moment, it was that. Even though obviously it was like an evolution that was happening for a few years, some changes in myself that were driving me in this direction of wanting to create impact, wanting to work with people, and wanting to, make a difference and bring what I can in terms of positivity into the world. Because, I was falling a bit into this hedonistic, nihilistic kind of humanity is just destroying the planet, and I'm just one person. What can I do? Why should I care? I'll just, be living my easy, pleasurable life, comfortable life, and not try to make a difference, because then that's hard. And maybe it won't come into any fruition. So why should I even try? But then, when I discovered I was going to be a father, then that kind of something grew in me where I can't just be that. Like, what's my purpose? Why am I here? What is the example that I want to give? So for me, that was the triggering moment.
Wow. Thank you. And for you, did you have a...
For me, it was more like a gradual thing. And I think it's important to talk about a little bit of my background. So I was born in Amsterdam, and I grew up in New York. But both of my parents are Japanese, and I've always felt different. I always felt like I didn't fit in. I didn't have a sense of belonging. I felt like I wasn't enough. I wasn't loved, all these stuff. And but then as I got more and more, as I started doing inner work, I got closer to, I felt more comfortable with myself, and to be authentic and to... just connect with others, and without, having like all these layers and barriers. And like, I just want us to be as authentic as possible and to be able to connect on that level. And then when I went to Bali, that was when I first experienced my ecstatic dance. And that was when I felt truly like, oh my God, I could be myself. It's okay to be myself. And everybody's there to accept me for who I am. I don't have to pretend to be someone else. I don't have to put a mask on. I'm just enough, like just to exist, like as a being. I'm a whole. And so I wanted to, this phenomenal feeling that I felt at that moment, I wanted to bring to Japan, because Japan is a very closed society. And I knew this practice would help liberate people and to expand. And so I thought to myself, if it's not me, who else is going to bring it? So here I am. Yeah.
Wow, that's so beautiful.
Yeah.
Guys, both reasons are so valid. And I want to ask you one thing. I mean, I want to ask you a lot of things, but the first thing I'm going to ask you in reference to what you said is, have you always been a leader? Would you call yourself a born leader? Or did it come from the inspiration of manifesting this particular project? And what was your challenge around this? Because many of us would like to create a community around our passions, but you did it. So would you share a bit more about that?
I guess I've always had a leader quality because I'm a Leo. So I don't mind, being in the center, but not being too much in the center. I like to just naturally be a leader. But I guess, for me, it was easy. It's just, I don't like to be hiding in the bushes, and I just like to put myself out there and to present myself the way I want. And I think, that's it.
In my case, it's not as clear. For most of my life, I never recognized any leadership qualities in myself, even though looking back, I do believe that they were there. Simply, I don't know if, something, I think there was some kind of protective thing that was making me stay more in the background, where I felt like I wasn't fully ready to assume that position, even though it's always relative. If I'm in, I'm remembering just my childhood. I would go practically every day and play soccer with my neighbors. There was a spot where we would go and play sports and hang out and have fun. And if most people there were younger than me or less experienced or whatever, then I would assume these leadership qualities would come naturally. But in general in life, it's not a position that I would kind of rise up to naturally, no. And then eventually, by being more authentic to myself, by getting to know myself better, and by actually tapping into that intrinsic motivation, when you're doing something because you actually love to do it, you want to see the outcome, you want to, there's a lot of pleasure in treading the path towards the outcome. And just this alignment of behavior, thought, and emotion, when it's all three in alignment and you are the person to actually take charge or lead, or then it's a natural thing that comes. But for me, it has been a more recent thing.
So you would say that stepping into the leadership came to you naturally when you re-encountered your purpose and stepped into the service that was aligned with your soul.
In my case, absolutely, Yeah,
I resonate with that a lot as well. I feel like my story was similar in the sense of kind of going in the background throughout many periods of my life, but then finding myself kind of leading without needing to take that role up, but just kind of naturally progressing in that way.
Mm-hmm.
So why did you feel like the ecstatic dance community was kind of the avenue for you to take this direction and to like you mentioned, it was for after you became a father was when you wanted to take on that next step of leadership. So why was it the ecstatic dance community that drew you in?
Mm-hmm. Great question. So, one of the things that made me believe that ecstatic dance was the way to go was because I kind of already gathered most of the skills that I needed to actually make it happen. So I knew that I could do it just by myself. I was already a DJ. I had already organized some events, mostly co-organized. So I was more, again, like that thing with being more in the background, although I did have some of the leadership skills, but I was more, still seeing myself as more of a student and not wanting to take that, rising up to that position of, no, I know, you can follow me. In general, I have been in the background in a bit of more of a student position. And of course, I still am in many situations. But more recently, I've been more comfortable and more called to take that leadership position. But so it's just, what I experienced in ecstatic dances, in other ecstatic dances, like Coração de Cacau, like Mochina, like Ecstatic Dance Lisbon, Sintra, like there's a big scene in the Lisbon area. There are a lot of ecstatic dance communities, or I would say maybe it's the same kind of community, but there are a lot of access points and a lot of different manifestations of it because people do it in different ways. But basically, it's this combination of two things. So one, as I already mentioned, I gathered all the skills that I felt were needed to actually start doing it. I could DJ, I could organize events, I could make flyers, I could take care of the marketing part. Like, since I could do a little bit of all of those things, I knew that, okay, I'm ready, I can do it. And then the second aspect is, like, this is super transformational. This is incredible. Like, what I lived in ecstatic dance is kind of something that I didn't think was possible, you know, in today's society or whatever. So when I understood that it was possible, when I felt it in my body, then there was this calling to, yes, I want to also like manifest my version of it, my vision of it. So yeah, for me, that was it.
Nice.
Do you remember the question?
Can you repeat that?
The question was more about why ecstatic dance called you, but for you, you mentioned that since growing up in Tokyo, or in Tokyo, the general like theme of Tokyo, it's a little bit more constricted. You grow up a little bit more
free and open,
the contrast between Amsterdam and Tokyo and New York. So then,
And I have a mega question to that. Ecstatic dance Tokyo. How is it different than ecstatic dance Ericeira, Lisbon, Portugal?
Well, it's it's very, very different because, first of all, not many people are familiar with ecstatic dance yet, let alone conscious dance practices. So it's a little bit challenging to get people to join the dance. But it's a great challenge for me. And my passion to bring this practice to Japan is bigger than the challenge itself. So I can, it's a great motivation for me. But definitely it's way different because people are very closed and very narrow-minded. So and they want to stay in their comfort zone. Japan is an island country, so we're not exposed to like other cultures, right? So we do things our own ways. So what's been carried on from for generations to generations, it's hard to just change and to just tap into like new stuff. So, but here, I think in Europe, like you guys are more open, so open to like new stuff, new practices, right? But in Japan, it takes such a long time to be even open to accepting, like welcoming new things. So it's very different, very, very different. And hopefully I can, soon bring something that is similar to the ecstatic dances that are, in Europe or in the States. But yeah, it's very different. I don't know if that answers your question, but yeah.
Yes and no, because another thing that I'm really interested is from the point of view of a facilitator, do you feel like you would guide a crowd differently here and there? Does it? Because I imagine that Ecstatic Dance Tokyo, from your point of view, it might be taking more of a guidance in order to activate the crowd. Am I getting the right idea? So you would talk more and be more involved with the crowd, or?
I definitely talk more, but I try not to talk too much because I don't want them to be too heady. That's not the purpose of the dance. But I need to explain to them because it's just everything is new to them and they're nervous. So I need to explain like the guidelines and everything. And so I start with an opening circle. I explain that this is a safe space and that you're free to just expose your vulnerability. And we're here to connect authentically and basically everything that I've been feeling all my life, right? Like it's okay to not be perfect. It's okay to just accept yourself for who you are at this very moment. Sorry, my mind is going everywhere right now, but remind me, what was the
That was it. Well, how is your experience as a facilitator with this kind of requiring crowd?
So I do, explain a lot. And also when we get into the dance, I take time in the guided warm-up because people don't know how to move. They don't know, they're just not embodied. So they don't even know how to, they're scared to move their body. They're scared to express themselves. So they become rigid. So then I have to, just give a little bit of, guided warm up to loosen up a little bit. But still, like, it's a challenge for them to fully relax and to express themselves. But it takes time. It takes practice. So it's just a matter of time. But a lot of people do think, okay, I've done it. This is the end. Okay, period. So they don't come back because they see it as a one-time thing. It's not like a regular type of dance that
like a challenge or something.
Yeah, it's like, okay, I've done it. And so, tick. That's
Which
it.
is actually not the case because taking from my own experience, you can expand your ecstaticness with every dance, actually.
Exactly. It just gets better and better, right? Every time. But I think with Japan, it's like they just see it as like, it's just something that they want to be proud of. Okay, I've done this, and now, okay, mission completed.
All right.
But so I want them to consider it as like, like a monthly yoga practice. It's like, okay, you come back. Like, it's not like a one-time thing. Like, you come back, and then you connect, and then you expand more. But so definitely the guided warm-up, like, and all the, so I do explain a lot, but not too much to the point that they become heady. But with
cool.
the ecstatic dance, Ericeira, you just start the music and people start moving, right?
Actually, no. We do have guided warm-up.
You do,
always.
like the conscious connection,
Yeah.
But
we connect people to each other, to themselves before we start the dance. Mm-hmm. Yeah, because we want to set a tone.
Right,
we want to get people in touch with their own body's wisdom, get out of their head. So,
but even with that,
we do like a full day experience where the first 3 hours are just like grounding breath work, connection dynamics. So we do a lot of preparing people for dance.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. There's been everything.
Yes.
But I do see what you mean in that there's a bigger percentage of the people that are already experienced ecstatic dancers. Like they maybe don't even need all of that.
They don't.
So if I were to just play the music, a lot of people would just be in that vibe already.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think it's contagious because somehow in Portugal, we say Portugal is a portal. So it really attracts a lot of people who are actively seeking for healing, conscious practices, healing modalities. There is an enormous holistic community here, right?
Yeah.
It seems as if people are traveling to Portugal in order to have this experience, and also ocean surfing and everything combined, right? So it's easier for people to just get contained with the energy on the dance floor, right?
Yeah.
But what I'm aiming for is that more and more people also here in Portugal are activating into stepping into service. So not only consuming the rituals and the practices and the ceremonies, but also being able to offer them in their countries, in our countries, because I'm also an expat, and bringing this energy back home. And I would love to know what is your look on that? On that this kind of community is growing and the awareness is being expanded, and people are activating more and more. Did you notice that also in your communities? And
definitely, yeah. Like the ecstatic dance scene is growing, the conscious scene is growing. I think it's all around the world, but Portugal is one of those hotspots. Like there is, I don't know, Tulum, Bali, Mykonos, like many places on earth which are like little paradises, naturally, where people gather to celebrate their humanness in that conscious new age, whatever you want to call it, way. So I do see that growth happening. That is also a part of why ecstatic dance was the way for me, which is like there's a market demand for it, and there's not even just a market demand in that perspective, but also there's like the people are looking for it. We want it. We are receptive to it. We're ready for it. So the fact that that is the state of the people really helps to build that foundation and build community. Because if people are not receptive, you can really work hard and put yourself out there, and it's not going to flow. Yeah,
it's true. And we're talking about Portugal, but specifically here in Ericeira, it's gathering a lot of people of that vibration. And I'm not sure if there was anything before you started with Ecstatic Dance Ericeira, or did you begin? And
there was.
Right.
Yeah, so in terms of the history of Ecstatic Dance Ericeira, this concept, it actually started way back with a woman called Shivani, Cristiana. She's like the founder of a brand. Now, I think that's what she's mostly focused on, which is her cacao brand, Cacao Bliss. But she traveled away. She wasn't doing, like, she started it, but it was also happening in Ericeira and Sesimbra. So it wasn't exactly this monthly event happening in Ericeira. But she's the one that started Ecstatic Dance in Ericeira, as far as I know. And then there was like the House of the Rising Mojo, and there were already communities and places, and like the scene was already happening. What I came to bring was a monthly event, a recurring thing where we can actually plant a seed and keep watering it, and with this effort of, consistency and keeping it alive, at a regular frequency.
And in terms of nurturing that community over time, what have you seen over your time of developing that community? Like, what new things have come in, or how has it been to nurture that community for you?
Please specify a bit more, sorry.
So I'm not sure exactly when you started. How long has it been?
2 years.
2 years.
This project, Ecstatic Dance decided 2 years and 3 months.
So in those 2 years, what have you seen that's come and go, and with people coming and going from the community and building like a regular event? Have there been any sort of challenges that you've come across, or any moments of okay, maybe I need to stop this, or what sort of hardships have you come across during those 2 years?
So the first thing that comes to mind is just like competition. There's a lot of conscious events in the Lisbon area, and a lot of people are doing ecstatic dance, cacao, the kind of things that we do, which we didn't invent also. Right. It's a general thing that's growing in Portugal and in the world, and we're also part of that movement. So competition, there are many events, and there are times where it is hard to get a good amount of people to come to your event. So that's one challenge for sure. And that's something that has made me reconsider at points, should I be investing my energy into this? But then I always felt I should. So that's one example of a challenge. I don't know if you want me to give more.
I think competition is interesting. So how do you feel like you've overcome these competitions, or how do you make Ericeira Ecstatic Dance unique so people want to come back specifically for that in the month?
Well, I try to improve always. I try to pay attention to the details and also discuss with the team after each event what went good, what went bad, what could be improved. I always try to keep the end goal of connection, tapping into the body, those core principles of what are we trying to bring, and keep that in the center always. And then think how can we design the flow better? How can we make it easier for people? For example, now we just introduced the Just Dance option, where you don't have to come for the full day. You can just join after the dynamics have happened, and you just come for the dance and a concert at the end. Trying to make it flexible for people, trying to listen to the feedback and to also people's opinions on what they would like.
Thank you so much for this. I have another question to you guys, because we are in the era of certifications, right? Would you say that you need to get a certificate to become an ecstatic dance DJ or facilitator?
I think we're both proof that
No,
that's not true.
neither of us are certified. You just need the passion and motivation and the will to move through.
I love it. We work closely with facilitators, and many times what we get is like, I don't have this certificate, I don't have this certificate, I don't have this certificate. And recently I was just speaking with a friend who told me like, she was in this indigenous community where they drink cacao, and they told her that cacao is not a ceremony. It's a ritual. It's a situation, but it's not a ceremony. And then in Europe, you can get cacao ceremony leader certification online. It's like, it's getting to the point of overload. So. We're working about empowering individuals on their soul-aligned path to get this inspired action. And you're a great example of this, because your stories really showcase that it is just taking an inspiration and what you say, breath, emotion, movement, aligned in a way that just feels right. And there's not much more left.
That's so true. I'm wondering, do you feel like you have any specific qualities that helped you along the path? Anything that, for you personally, that stands out in terms of your qualities?
Qualities.
Should I go first?
If you want,
Yeah, so in my case, I think the things that help are, for example, attention to detail. I'm like someone that likes to pay attention to the details. That's an aspect, because then I can, for example, go to other ecstatic dance events, which were inspirations for me and continue to be. And I can notice what are I can pick apart. What do I like? What do I don't like? What could be done differently? So I like to be analytical in that sense.
Right.
It just comes natural to me. And I like to pay attention to details. And then I also like to give my own twist. So yeah, creativity, attention to detail, and just... Yeah.
I also hear flexibility, because the ability to do constant realignment is adaptability and flexibility, which is so important whenever we already have established our way to be able to have this like water element quality in life.
Right.
Yeah. I am a Scorpio, so I am water.
Okay.
And I'm fire. So for me, it's all about my passion. The quality is my passion, and to just be myself. And I'm very naturally energetic. So rather than focusing on the details, which is, of course, important, I just bring my energy to bring people together. And just embody myself as a natural leader. And I think that I don't really think about, okay, I'm a leader, so I should be doing this and that and that. Like, I embody the leader when I'm facilitating. And so that energy would naturally bring people together. So I think that's what I focus on, like my energy. Yeah.
It's so beautiful to see how you both own your element and how you own your story. Like,
that's powerful when you can understand your own qualities and really work towards it and not try and fight against the way that you naturally will operate. It's the best way to kind of align yourself faster to the path, what I've seen. So it's great. And one thing you mentioned, that you work with a team. So you have people that are dependent on you, relying on you, you're working together, you're getting that feedback constantly as well. How has it been for you to kind of be that leader in the team and sort of delegate tasks and also receive feedback? And how has that journey been for you?
That's an interesting question, actually, because I don't see myself as a leader in the team, actually. I'm a leader in the project, so I take care of the pre-event stuff, I speak with the venues, I deal with the business side, I design the flow, I speak with the artists, the facilitators, that kind of stuff. So I kind of envision how the event will be and do everything in my power to make sure that it will happen that way. But then on the day of the event, then I have a team that I can count on to hold the space, to bring the right energy, to put people in the right mood. So for me, it's just this big relief that there's people that I can count on, that I trust, that I yeah, that I know they're professional and they're also attentive to detail and they have the sensitivity to adapt also, as you said. So yeah, I don't see myself as the leader of the team. And I don't delegate that much also. It's more like, yeah, like team building is something that I've been really interested in. And I think, again, bringing that to the topic of the elements, it's really a lot about those elements and the archetypes of people and tapping into the intrinsic motivation of each person. So maybe one person will be super delighted to make an altar. And I will just tell that person, I trust you. I feel that your energy is good enough to make a beautiful thing.
That's my earth.
So that's what delegation has been for me. It's like scouting for talent and then just giving the person, like, it's your responsibility, it's your creative space, and yeah, I trust you.
So it's an intuition, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, Uma created the altar, by the way.
Yeah.
At the last.
I'm very connected with my Mother Nature archetype and a nourishment and creating space for people to come together. Yeah, it's something that I'm very passionate about also in my retreat work and in my mentoring work. This nourishment quality.
And it was such a beautiful altar.
It was, yeah, indeed.
It was a co-creation with a beautiful local gardener, Ram, from our community also, who provided us with these beautiful flowers. So I feel it's always a co-creation. And this is the power of the community and the network. Because I met you already before, but we met independently, kind of, in a concert. And then we connected through another sister, and then all of this with another brother and another connection, and somehow the energies come together, and from nothing we're like, poof, this ecstatic community that can manifest anything we want. This is incredible power of co-creation, and it super inspires me on this journey.
It's amazing, and I feel like we all have our own unique flavors to add to the pot, and that's how we create something incredible together on these days of the ecstatic dances. It's where you create a space for people to really show themselves and bring all of themselves to this ritual dance, and creating that sacred space is what kind of attracts people into it. So I'm curious for what you said about people in Tokyo. They kind of see it more as a one-off experience. So what do you feel like would need to change in Japan in order for this kind of experience to happen over there?
That's a very challenging question, because that's that's my homework, at the moment. But I guess, my mission is to call in my soul tribe, first of all, to help me with spreading this conscious practice. But I guess as someone that is bringing this practice to Tokyo, I guess I just need to be fully embodied and to just energetically draw people in. And to, because I think with words, it's something that people won't be convinced with just words, right? I need to be the role model in a way. Like, oh, how can I be like her? How can I want to be like her too, which has already happened. Like just me being me, like people are interested, and like, why are you so different? How can you just be so free and just be happy and just be you and be confident and just, and it took me a lot to get to where I am right now, because I was always feeling insecure. Well, still, I'm not perfect. I do feel insecure at times too, but I guess people see that in me. And they approach me and they're like, how could I be like you? And I'm like, oh, well, hey, I host a dance, and this can really help you to get to where I am, because this practice is very transformational, not only on a mindset level, but like your body, like it just transforms so much, right? And so I think how, I don't know, I'm still trying to figure out, but just being me is already it's the answer to the how, because I'm the answer, I guess. Just embodying myself is already the answer. So I'm not trying to find a solution. I'm just me being me, fully embodied with myself, comfortable with myself, always stepping up my game, and just be humble and being a student, forever student to life, can definitely take me to where I want to be. And by people seeing me going on a journey is inspirational. So I hope that would help bring people more interest in the dance that I do, which helped me transform. I don't know, which helped me get to where I am.
Yeah, it makes all the sense and resonates a lot. And I feel we can bring it actually to all different kind of healing modalities. And as long as we are on our healing journey, our methods worked for us, right?
Yeah, right.
So as long as this is embodied, as you say, and we are in this high frequency vibration, this is something of being inspirational. Like, this is weird. Why is she like this? Okay, she's like this and she's doing ecstatic dance or breathwork or yoga or any other healing modality. I want to go there to check if this works for me too.
Yeah.
It's magnetism.
And, that's beautiful. And I think this can be seen as one of the tips for the facilitators on how to attract their clients.
Yeah, you need to embody it. Because also if you're speaking on stage, it's a great example that I think everyone can relate. If someone is speaking on stage and they're like nervous, tight, like you feel it. And you're also going to be kind of nervous and tight inside and uncomfortable. It's a bit awkward. So if you're leading a space, if you're holding space, leading a group, I mean. Also another example is like being vulnerable. If you're comfortable with yourself and you have the courage to be the first one to actually open up, be vulnerable, take the conversation a bit deeper, then the person will also feel that, okay, it's safe. I can also be vulnerable. So, yeah, I think those are some examples that everyone can relate to, where just embodying what it is that you want to manifest around just makes it easier for everyone else to join that same energy.
And to be fully comfortable with your present self. Yeah, because I don't consider myself a leader of the community either, because I'm just like one of them. I just happen to be bringing this practice to Japan, but it's not like I'm superior or anything. It's not like I feel like I need to lead or guide people. Like, I'm here to grow with you guys, and also exposing my vulnerability is really important as well, because then people know that, okay, it's okay to not be perfect. It's okay to accept my weak side, my shadows as well. I don't always have to put a mask on and to be strong or to pretend to be a people pleaser, to be validated. You know, just I need to be fully honest with myself for people to accept the part of themselves that they haven't been able to appreciate, right? So I think that's something that I really try to be aware of when holding space. To not be perfect, and it's okay not to be perfect, and for people to see someone that's holding space, and okay, like it's like it gives them relief, right? That, okay, I don't need to be perfect. I'm just repeating myself here, but yeah.
I think we're stepping on a very very important topic here that has been very present for me at the beginning of my journey as a space holder. And I had a very strong need to be perfect. And when we were holding, I remember I was holding this retreat with Shani. It was a co-creation gathering. It was made for space holders for empowerment of space holders in the transition of their jobs and stuff, stepping into service and this kind of things. And I had a moment that I didn't feel empowered. I had a personal thing going on, you know, and I was holding myself so strong in order to to be in this strong position, because I need to be strong here for you guys, no?
It's that imposter syndrome. Right?
And then at some point I was like, okay, what if I just do like,
Right.
And
That at a point you realize that the people don't need you to see you as the strong person all the time. It's like sometimes showing that vulnerability actually is more strength. And especially when you take that from a space of guiding people. And that's why we call it facilitation. We're facilitators. We're not the leaders or anything. We facilitate the experience and we guide you through the experiences. But I think the case of showing vulnerability is very important for us.
Yeah.
and authenticity. That's it.
Yeah, vulnerability is, I think, is a key thing that has to be there. Is essential for like relatability, because otherwise you're just
Yeah.
putting someone else on a pedestal. If you don't see their vulnerability, you don't connect really. Like
That's
it's
it.
Right.
you're not on the same level, you know. So maybe what they are doing is unattainable for you. But if you see their vulnerability in spite of the great things that they're doing, then you can also relate. Because I can also be in my power even though I have insecurities.
Exactly. Or a worse day or a not so good day.
Or because we're always changing.
Yeah.
And then the issue of authenticity, like I feel that creativity is flowing from that same source for all of us. And like if you are present, then we're just like translators of that same energy, chi, prana, creativity, life force, whatever. And the more that we can be just present and receptive and relaxed with it, the better that translation will be through our actions, through who we are. So it takes authenticity to be in that presence and in that relaxed state of this is who I am, and I just let it arise through me.
And the other way around, it takes presence to be in authenticity as well.
Yeah, they go together,
Yeah.
is what I'm saying.
Yeah. Beautiful thought, yeah.
So it takes a bit of courage, and it takes a bit of just, like you did, just relax into it.
It's also the courage, because I feel that whenever we surrender to the present moment deeply, then it can go both ways, as opposed to having prepared scenario.
Yeah, you just allow things to flow rather than
Right.
resisting. Yeah, controlling.
And that's another beautiful topic.
Yes, trying to control the scenario. And I feel like when you are put in this position of like people are looking at you as the organizer of the event, you are the one who's arranging everything, you kind of want things to go a certain way. So how do you let go of that control when you, like you said, you kind of empower other people to sort of do their thing? Like, how is it that you can just on the day sit back and be like, okay, things will go the way they go? Maybe it's not exactly the way I imagined perfectly, but I will allow it.
Yeah. Well,
I just see like whatever happens during the dance, I just see it as like what happens in life in general. So if things don't work out or if things don't go the way I would like to be, I just surrender to it. And I don't try to control, or at least I try not to. Just see what I can do, what actions needs to be taken to make it better. But I try not to control because I know from my personal experience that the outcome is never good. So just letting things flow and just allowing things to happen. And it's okay for things not to be perfect. And that's part of, I want the dancers to experience that as well. It's not okay to be perfect. I'm not perfect.
it's okay to not be perfect.
It's okay
Exactly,
not to
yeah.
be perfect. And I want them to actually see that part of me as well. Like, I'm not perfect. So it's okay for you guys not to be perfect either.
And this is so healing to not need to be perfect.
Exactly. And that's when I felt like, okay, like I could just completely be me without feeling like I need to be perfect, in order to host a dance. I don't need to be certified or anything. I just have to be me.
Show up.
Show up as my authentic self. Yeah. And that's already empowering for a lot of people. To a lot of people. So.
Yeah, so my perspective on it, like the first thing that came up when you asked the question was kind of a metaphor or a parallelism, which is between being a father, having a kid, which is kind of the same thing. They share a lot of things. And like the project and my son were born 1 month apart. So like I kind of constantly see similarities between the two processes. So how can you relinquish control? You have a son. It's kind of the same thing, because you want to guide your son, you have expectations, you have goals, you have like a vision of what you want him to become, but at the same time, he's his own entity. So yeah, it's kind of the same thing. So for me, I don't surrender and just not control. In the day of the event, I am constantly, my mind is always scanning everything and paying attention to the different aspects of, like, there's the market, there's what's going on in the main program, there's like the venue and the people from the venue, and I need to have kind of hold all of these variables in my mind. So I try to, same as with my son, I try to intervene as little as possible in the sense of nudging things to some direction, but I'm constantly, what can I nudge in a better direction? So it's not that I surrender and relinquish control because, okay, the day of the event is here, whatever I prepared, whatever I didn't, I didn't, even though there is some of that. But then there's also those little nudges that you can, like, you can't really control, you can't put things where you want them to be because it's its own entity. The event is a life entity, it's an alive entity that has its own energy made up by the different people that are there. And we're in a collective journey on that day. So it's not about what I want, what I envisioned, even though I do have some power to make things a bit better when I can see that I can make them a bit better. So that's kind of my perspective, yeah.
Yeah, thanks. That's a great perspective to see the parallels between the child and the event as well. I can see that.
And also different from seeing feminine and masculine approach to organizing and holding space. Like, I just am. And then, no, I just control everything. That's beautiful. Right. Shakti and Shiva, feminine and masculine.
Yeah, but I feel like you have a very balanced masculine approach to it. It's that you allow it, you take the analytical approach, but you don't overstep and go too far, because it can be quite easy when you're in a position of power to kind of get drunk on the power and be like, okay, I can just control this whole thing. And so how do you stop yourself overstepping that mark to, like,
it's super easy because there's an ethical side of me that taps into, like, it's like I said, it's a collective journey. We're co-creating the event, even though I did 1 month of planning and I have a vision for it and etc. And some people, and most of the people that are there are just, okay, I'm here to enjoy. In the day, we are co-creating, like, what's happening. So, sorry, just remind me the question. How do I...
Yeah. How do you keep yourself balanced and not overstep when you have the access to the power and just sort of
not be over controlling.
Not to be over controlling and just sort of
exactly.
Not to.
So it's back to that ethical responsibility of the space holder, and not thinking that it's about you. It's about all of us. We're together in this journey. In this day, we're co-creating this day.
And I really felt it, to be honest, when we started to speak about the co-creation in the event, and you were like, okay, so I'm happy for you to just do your magic the way you feel like doing it, and then straight up, this is a very good way of actually leading people, because this way you hand the responsibility into the hands of people, so the people feel more accountable, so actually want to show up more. So it's already like, putting up the zipper and be like, okay, I'm on a mission now,
Right, and that's funny because actually I first met you because I held an ice bath at your Ecstatic dance Ericeira like over a year ago now.
Like a year ago, something
and
like that.
We never even spoke or didn't know each other before then.
Yeah.
And it was the same situation with me where you were just like, okay, here's your space, you want to set up and let me know what you need. Let me know what you need.
Yeah.
That was basically it.
But preferably just don't need too much.
Yeah.
And that's the way to go. And I believe this is a very powerful quality of a leader that you are, or a manager, or a creator, or space holder. Facilitator, or however you like to call it. It's giving this trust to people to co-create from their heart.
And having the good of all the people involved in mind instead of my vision in mind. or kind of like being able to hold those two
That's
at the
important.
same time.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a powerful perspective, because sometimes we can get lost in our vision, and when our vision is powerful, maybe it can take over and sort of like that becomes the priority over the good of everyone or the collective. So how do you balance that with having a strong vision but then not being so married to it that that's the only way?
I think I'm just too empathic. Like I feel the people in the event, and I want to. Like I'm too connected to that. I'm
Just a bundle of love.
Yeah.
Okay, guys, and I would like to ask you a question for inspiration purpose. How would you address facilitators and space holders who are at the edge of giving themselves to creating spaces, holding spaces, but are still maybe attached to material life, to security, to their self-limiting beliefs? Do you have a takeaway word for them?
My opinion on that is, I mean, first of all, there's no magical pill or magical advice. Like that simply doesn't exist, I think. But if I had to focus on one specific thing, I would say you need to know yourself well. That's the main thing. If you are going to work on one thing, work on knowing yourself. Because you mentioned limitations, still living on the edge and still like clinging to things that you do know they're toxic. So we all have that to some degree. So yeah, first of all, understanding that we all have that. I'm not a bad person or a weak person or a toxic person because I have these things. I mean, I am to some extent. We all are to some extent. And yeah, again, the issue of not being perfect, which is super important. But then this lifelong quest of knowing myself. And there is this quote that your own self-actualization is the biggest service you can do to the world. And I really believe that's true. So yeah, try to know yourself as best as you can. Keep that in your conscious attention, in your day-to-day life. And yeah, in a nutshell, that's my answer.
Yeah. Very similar to what he said. I think it's really important to do your work and to accept all sides of you and to be fully comfortable with who you are. Because then you're going to start judging yourself, and then you're going to go down the rabbit hole, the negative loop, and which stops you from taking necessary actions and to show up as your as that empowered self. But once you know your shadows and you accept your shadows, I mean, shadows are there for a reason. You're not scared of anything. You're not scared of not being good, not being perfect, not being accepted, because you've accepted that part of you. So you don't need that validation from others. You giving yourself permission already. So then that's the first step, right? And if you haven't accepted that part of you, then you're just gonna that's the most important thing. I feel like
you guys will probably agree that it is still scary. Like
it
you
is
will
scary.
still feel
It is scary.
that scary feeling, but you will do it anyway because the calling is stronger than the fear.
Right.
Yeah. And you just need to take actions, right? Then you'll never learn. But being aware of that side of you is important, because then you know, okay, I have that. Okay, let me just honor this side of me, right? But then having honored that part of yourself, okay, what can I do to overcome that, that part of myself? What do I want to manifest? Like, who do I want to become? And then you just take actions accordingly, and you just gotta try. You just gotta get out of your comfort zone and do what it needs to, what it takes. Yeah.
And be willing to adapt step by step, to readjust.
And then you
That's
gain
also
confidence
super
as you
important.
go. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
You gain confidence as you go.
So it's just stepping into that.
Yeah. Because I believe that there's this fake it till you make it, or maybe fake it is not the right word, but you know this expression,
Right.
which has to kind of happen in the beginning until life gives you enough feedback that then the confidence comes from actual feedback from life. And it's not just you trying to be confident. It's actually like, I know I did this, this, and this, so I am capable.
Yeah,
I can trust myself.
of course.
Yeah.
But to get this first testimonial, we need to show up
We do.
in this role. Yeah.
And I feel like it's very important what you said there. It's one thing is working on yourself, but then it's actually, okay, going out and taking the action, because some people, they get caught in the loop of like, okay, I need to become perfect before I can facilitate, and I need to clean everything and sort of get rid of all of my shadows, and then I can start working on something or helping people. But sometimes if you are at least aware of it and you're working on them, and it's kind of, okay, it's on your path, you can then start. And exactly as you mentioned, kind of like I feel like we need to create a new phrase for fake it till you make it, but it's kind of faking it till you make it.
I was trying to remember it.
But I feel it's very important, and it's not fake it, but believe it until
You achieve it.
Yeah.
That's the one.
Yeah.
Believe
Yeah.
it till you achieve it.
Yeah.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
it.
I love it.
Right.
There was first of my inspirational quotes of my life. When I was 18 or 17, I put it in my room. I wrote it. I already wanted to be a designer, so I designed my own poster with this inspirational quote. And it would say, if you can think it, you can dream it. If you can dream it, you can plan it. And if you can plan it, you can achieve it. And that was like this. I was like, okay, I'm here in Poland. I want to be there and do these things. Like, can I even dream it?
Yeah.
Can I even dream it? And this is another thing. And we're going close to an end, but this is one topic that I would like to open still, which is believing in your own dreams, being worthy of achieving your own dreams. And I feel many times this is still something that is stopping us from really stepping into service, because we are dreaming about something, but we are not really embodying to deserve to be that or be there. And have you had this kind of like stops on your way? Have you experienced this kind of blockages or other blockages?
Definitely.
So I even have a specific example that came up when you said that. So I was playing at an ecstatic dance, another ecstatic dance. I was just a guest DJ, and I was told from the organizers that I would have like my 5 minutes to speak before like we actually went into the dance. So I was looking forward to that moment where I could explain a little bit, like, what's the musical journey going to be? What can you expect? Like, nothing too much, but just to give a bit of context. And I had that expectation. I was waiting for that moment. And then it didn't happen. The person in the middle of all of the stuff that she had to remember to say, she forgot to pass me the word, which was not a big deal. But it got me into thinking, because I did feel something, and I could have said, like, no, I would like to speak. Like, I could have imposed my will of speaking, and I did not. And that's what got me thinking, why did I not? And the takeaway here, the reason I'm bringing this up, is because there's a conclusion and insight, I think, which is, my conclusion to that was, I did not intervene, and I did not want to put my energy, like, impose my energy and, like, I want to speak and, like, change the course, the flow of what was already happening, because it wasn't coming from a place in that moment of, I do believe that me speaking will be of service to the group. It was coming from a place of, but I wanted to speak. Like, I had these things to say. So I think, yeah, that's the big insight, is the blockages happen when we're, at least in my case personally, when I'm, the motivation isn't coming from a place of, no, but I want to help. It's coming from a place of, I have this thing that I want to do. It's for me.
Ego.
Yeah. So that's the difference in the perspective, in the motivation. Yeah, that's a practical thing that one can do to actually unblock.
That's so true.
Yeah.
Remind me the question again. Sorry.
I'll remind myself the question.
Yeah, we're talking about limitations
Limitations.
and feeling worthy to bring your dream, manifest your dream.
Yeah. Feeling worthy of living your dream life, kind of.
Yeah. I mean, I think if we can all unlock the limiting beliefs, like we're on our path to manifesting our dreams and our desires. I think the thing that's holding us back is the beliefs, is the mind, because we already know we're already enough. We already can bring so much. We already have so much potential, right? But it's just that mind block is just so strong, right? It stops us from trusting ourselves and our possibilities, what we can bring to the world. But yeah, so that's when the inner work becomes really important, and to be aware of like all the belief codes that you're holding. Yeah. So.
Okay, and now, very shortly, because it's a big one, how do you unlock your limiting beliefs? Shortly, just to plant a seed in the mind of our viewers or listeners.
Ecstatic dance, right?
Yeah. Forget about like who you think, what your mental concept of you, and just let it flow. Like, and use your body, move, literally move and breathe and activate the body so that you tap into the body's wisdom and you allow it to guide you, like to guide the mind. The mind is a great servant, terrible master, like Alan Watts said. So, yeah.
And I think it's important to still be feeling what you're feeling. Like, oh, I feel uncomfortable, for example, during the dance. If you're feeling uncomfortable, if you're feeling self-conscious, if you're feeling embarrassed, it's okay to feel that. Let your body feel that. I mean, you are feeling that already. But then you add the movement, you move the energy, you release the stuck emotions through movement. And that's where the transformation happens, right? Because your body, somatically, it remembers it differently, right? Once you start moving, you're no longer reacting in the same situation in the same way. Like your body remembers it in a different way. It's now able to move freely, and it's just...
The blockages are energetic blockages. By moving the body, you're making it easier for the energy to flow.
Yeah. And it feels great.
It feels great.
It feels great. And you feel good about yourself.
Yeah.
And next time you catch yourself in a similar environment or a situation, you will realize that you're responding things in a different way because your body's reaction changes, So that's the beauty of ecstatic dance, don't you think? Yeah?
Yeah.
I mean, that's what we're bringing to the community and the people.
Well, yeah, somatics are so important, and on a deep level, we store energy we store things in our body that if we can allow this ecstatic dance to be a process of releasing and letting go of these things, it's such a beautiful practice. So thank you guys for creating these spaces for it. It's amazing the work you're doing.
Thank you.
With pleasure.
And do you have anything else you'd like to share, or how people can get in touch with you? Do you have any communities?
Yeah, so on Instagram, Ecstatic Dance Ericeira, and there's the website ecstaticdanceericeira.pt, where you can find the 2 links, which are the main channels of integrating with the community, being in touch with the community, which is the Instagram page and the Telegram group. That's for the community. And for myself personally, I don't have an Instagram page for myself. I just have for my DJ project, which is DJ Jingai. So if anyone wants to reach out, Instagram at DJ Jingai. Jingai. DJ Gingai.
Okay, we can add the link underneath here.
Or no need. If someone really wants to connect, I just spelled it, so it's fine.
I'm really bad with spelling.
Or they can find you on Ecstatic Dance Ericeira, right?
Also,
so you have your
And how about you, Emmy?
People can find Ecstatic Dance Tokyo on Instagram.
Incredible.
And my personal account, which I have 2, Emmy Energy Shift or Amy Comets.
Because you're also a therapist, right?
Yes. I'm a massage therapist. I'm a body worker. So I post all these all this stuff like the healing dance related stuff on my other account, which is Amy Energy Shift, and Amy Comments is just like me, just my daily life and traveling and just my thoughts, sharing my thoughts.
Oh my God, that's another universe that we could dive into right now. Thank you very much, guys. It's been a pleasure to have you.
Pleasure
Thank you. Yes,
too.
it was also
Thank
a
you so
pleasure.
much.
Thank you for the invitation
Thank you. Thank you.
and for the great
All right.
questions.